Hi, today I'm going to show you how I make coffee with the Atomic coffee maker. This particular model is the one that has a steam wand on it. If you've got one which does not have that steam wand on it, then what I'm going to say probably doesn't apply to you. To begin with, I think the most important thing about making coffee with the Atomic is how much water you put in it. Fundamentally, you've got to put enough water in that you get the right amount of coffee into the jug, and not too much that it fills the jug too far and you end up with dishwater. It has to be enough water so that there's some left in the bottom to make steam with. If it runs out of water altogether, then it's not pretty. So first of all, let's fill it up. I'm filling it to about, I suppose, 20 millimetres from the top of the jug. Take this off. Remember, there's always a bit left in it from last time, so make sure you empty that out. Probably don't throw it on your floor, but you just never know. Pour that in, put the knob back in, if you can, bloody thing. Okay, so the next stage is putting the coffee in it. You'll note when you buy yours that you'll get 2 capsules. Throw out the smaller one. Might as well use enough coffee to make a decent cup of coffee. When I'm travelling in my caravan, I do have, well, some of the time have 240 volt power available, so I do carry a little coffee grinder with me. If I don't have power, then I also have a little hand grinder which grinds just enough. If you've got a spare 10 minutes, grinds just enough to fill the capsule. There's always been arguments about whether to use freshly ground or pre-ground coffee. I wouldn't even think of using pre-ground coffee. All that happens is that all the oils empty out of the coffee, dry out of the coffee, so you don't actually get a decent cup of coffee out of it. There was a saying several years ago I heard which said that a coffee machine is just an accessory for a good grinder. Some truth in it. So let's grind a bit of coffee. You'll note when you got your machine, if you got it new, that they give you a little sachet of coffee which is showing you what the grind should be. That's sort of got to be done by trial and error, but what they actually demonstrate is actually pretty close. It's really hard for me in this situation to show you the coffee grind. On this coffee grinder, it's got a scale of 1 to 25, and I've got it on 7. If I put it down to 1, you'll get out what you could probably call Turkish dust. So 7 has still got a bit of grind, still a little bit gritty, but it's basically pretty fine. Next argument, do we tamp or do we not tamp? I'm always going to say with any coffee that you tamp, in this particular maker, you don't tamp very hard, you just push it lightly into place, and it should be about 5 mil from the top, so I'm going to put a tiny bit more in and try again. You can see I'm not, on my big coffee machine I absolutely stomp it down, not on this one. If you do that on this one, you run the risk of the thing blowing up. So, capsule on. Coffee in place. Brought a little burner with me over here. Of course, usually in the caravan I have my stove, but I have made coffee on this on numerous occasions. Put the coffee in. Now once you put it there, if you don't do anything more, what will happen is it'll start feeding the coffee out as soon as the water starts at all to get warm. We don't want that. We want to get hot water out. So what I do is open the steam valve. Once you start getting steam out of here, then you close it so that the coffee goes through the group head. You might be able to hear now that it's just a bit of steam starting to come out of the wand. So at this point, turn the wand off, let it continue heating and producing coffee. So first drips have come through now. As with most coffee makers, the first drips are probably the blackest that you get out, and then they progressively get lighter. Just keep it running until it actually runs out. You'll hear, I think, when it's running out of water to make coffee, so that'll just leave the water to make the steam. Hopefully you can hear it now. It's just getting to the stage of when it's almost out of water. So we'll get the jug, we'll take the junk, whatever was in the bottom of it, fill it about halfway up the jug, usually to the spout. Of course, at the moment I'm making 2 cups of coffee. You have to adjust all of these measurements, like the amount to put in if you're only making 1 cup of coffee. So it's pretty well done now. Just make sure we've got plenty of steam. So the idea of running the wand is if you put it out at a slight angle, see if you can get the milk actually rotating around the jug. You just hold it just below the surface. I'll see if I can get that noise. That noise is when you're actually creating foam, but you don't want to create bubbles. It's interesting too how you work out how hot you want it. I hold on to the bottom of the jug until I can't hold it anymore, and then depending on time of year how hot I want my coffee, I just count until I turn off the steam. Usually I count to about 10. In winter I count to 15 because I'll have my coffee hotter. So that's now too hot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that sort of thing. And at about 10, turn the steam off. Got a few bubbles in there, so you'll see baristas do this all the time. That's just knocking the bubbles out of it. If you want to, you can give it a bit of a rotate to polish the top of the milk. You'll see it's a flat white colour when you first get it off. Once you swivel it around a bit, it will look glossy on the top. So now we've got our coffee, we've got our milk. We've got to put them in the cups. These, of course, are 2 mugs, so making a fairly big coffee. What we need to do is put, I don't know, I hope you can see that, about 50 mils of coffee, this is water, yeah, about 50 mils of coffee into each cup. So that's a shot glass. I use those cups just by and by if I'm making short blacks for people. So we put about 50 mil in each cup, really badly, made a dreadful mess. So there's about another, I've got about 1 more cup left in there. Pour our milk in. You can do some latte art if you want to. And we now have 2 cups of coffee. Hope that helps a bit. Cheers, bye.